It is usually when I'm struggling with fatigue or joint pain or brain fog that I withdraw the most, and I have the least amount of thoughts to share with others because I'm really in a survival mode. Like I'm just kind of going into like this mode where I'm trying to get through the day and figure out how to have a good day, and so I just share less. And I've been struggling with all of those things. And brain fog is such a funny phrase. I always feel like when I say brain fog, that unless you struggle with brain fog and have experienced it yourself, that you kind of roll your eyes and are like, okay, brain fog. It's such a hokey way to describe a very real struggle. And all these things have been very real in my life. I don't want to make videos and inspire people just when I'm doing really well, which is rarely because there's just chronic fatigue and pain all the time. With Hashimoto's, that's becoming a norm, and I'm just learning how to manage it and how to have my best days and how to kind of recover. I think I might be able to recover even more than I have. But it's all about how I approach the challenge. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. I have been working through some stuff, and I thought this may be inspiring for others. So I did want to share with you about how we approach challenges in life and the habits that we create with our mind as we are approaching those challenges and dealing with them. Because every day we deal with challenges, so many different challenges, and some are very, very small, like just hard decisions we have to make that really aren't that big of a deal. In fact, after we make the decision, we forget about it. Some of them are much bigger. Maybe you deal with challenges related to health, like myself, or it could be a relational thing with a parent, a child, a spouse, a friend, a work challenge, a financial challenge, a spiritual challenge, temptation, a struggle. And maybe like myself, I'm doing everything I know to do. I'm doing everything right, and I'm still dealing with physical symptoms. And maybe sometimes you are doing everything right. You're doing everything right in your marriage, everything you know to do, everything right with your finances, even trusting God, even tithing and just trusting Him with your finances, and there's still struggles. When we're doing everything right, that doesn't mean there's not going to be challenges. And it's especially important in those seasons how we approach the challenges that we face. So let's get to it. Here's what I wanted to describe to you guys. I mean, this is kind of like everybody gets this and everybody knows this, but we forget it. We talk about habits all the time, creating habits with our health, working out, what we eat, work habits, organizational habits. But our mind is an area where we create habits every single day, either intentionally or unintentionally, and we're not always paying attention to the habits that we're making. If we're not being intentional, then we could be unintentionally creating really bad habits with our mind and allowing ourselves to approach situations with really negative, thwarting mindsets. And when I say thwarting, I mean like mindsets that put walls up and slam doors in our own face because of the way that we're looking at a situation. And here's just an example. Okay, so like we could approach a challenge and take on a really like a victim mentality type of mindset. We could think things and believe things like, woe is me. Like we don't say woe is me in our mind, but we're just like, why does this always happen to me? Why is everything harder for me than it is for everybody else? No matter how hard I try, something always falls and hits me in the head and makes life more difficult. I cannot live my life as successfully as everybody else around me. I just see all my friends and people just running and thriving, and it's always going to be a struggle for me because something's wrong with me. These are all very negative ways of looking at a situation. We don't always say these things out loud, but sometimes they're internalized and we believe these things about us. Or we'll believe these things about the world or the challenges we're facing, like they are handling us. We are not handling them. And we have a very real spiritual enemy, and he wants nothing more than for us to feel defeated. So he is feeding us these lies, and we allow ourselves to be influenced and believe them sometimes, and believe terrible things about ourselves that simply are not true. This type of a mindset will close doors for us. It will build walls that don't need to be there just because of how we are perceiving a certain challenge. So I'm going to give you an example of a different kind of mindset. Another mindset is a very like champion centered mindset, and it's also a very like promise-based, truth-founded mindset. And so we are going to be calling on the promises of God, on the truth of God, with this type of a mindset. And that includes believing like no matter what it takes, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to work through this. It's just another dip in the road. And what I'm gaining from this today is going to make me a stronger, smarter, better person tomorrow. And my God has always been faithful. He's always led me through this, you know. Even though there are, I walk through the fires, I will not be set ablaze. Even though the waters sweep over me, I will not be drawn under. He is faithful. And I trust that he is strong enough, like his shoulders are strong enough, his arms are big enough to carry me through this. That's a very, truth-founded, promise-based, scriptural, supported mindset that we can take. But we have to practice it. You don't have to feel it. You don't even have to believe it. You can be intentional and choose it and create a habit of taking on this mindset, you guys. We just speak the truth of Scripture out loud. We speak the promises of God out loud with whatever challenge you're facing in your marriage, with your money, with your body, with your mind, whatever challenge you're facing. You can speak the truth and promises of God out loud over that challenge. You can say, God, you are strong enough. You're going to lead me through this. I trust in you. I believe in you. You are faithful. And what happens is when we practice that with small things, God, you're good. You're blessing my life. You're present in my life right now. And when we practice that with the smallest things over and over and over again, it becomes habit, and our mind begins to be drawn to that. We believe it with all of our heart. It begins to become a way that we process life and the lens that we look through. And so that's the question I have for you today is, what habits are you creating with your mind when you face certain challenges in life? Are you considering them pure joy because of what they are leading you to? It's amazing to think that Scripture says celebrate it. It's going to turn out good. So celebrate it now, even when it's hard, because it's going to be amazing. But that's a scriptural minded way to think of things. I want to encourage you to make intentional habits with your mind to approach challenges and struggles in life with intentionality, so you can be creating the habits in your mind that you desire. And if you don't feel it and you don't believe it, then say it. Reject and rebuke the lies of the enemy. He wants you to feel defeated, and you don't have to feel defeated. You are a child of the Most High King. That's a pretty big deal. So I hope this encourages you guys to think about how you're thinking about things. And I do want to press that you be intentional about it, because otherwise you're not going to be paying attention to the habits you're making, and you might be making habits with your mind that you don't want to make. So make the right habits and think about it. Love you guys. Have a great day.